Southeast Texas Weekly, brought to you by the Modern Vein Surgery Institute at Privity Clinic for Surgical Care.
It's on again at Southeast Texas Weekly. I'm Kevin Steele. Great to have you with us to talk politics once again on our program. Always nice for you to be here. We have many subjects to talk about, including the foreign policy handling of the Ukraine. We'll talk about the Keystone Pipeline in this half hour. If Obamacare is falling short of its projections, wow, I bet we get an argument about that one, and much more. First, let me introduce my good friends Kent Bettman, the Hardin County GOP chair, Michael Lindsay with Lindsay and Parsons, who leans a little bit to the left, and W.L. Pate, a city councilman for the city of Beaumont. Great to see you all. Thanks for being in, gentlemen. You dress up the show when you come in.
Oh yeah.
We've got to talk about this matter of the foreign policy handling, and a lot of times, guys, we don't get into foreign policy here. We think most of our Southeast Texas viewers really view domestic policy as far more important. In this case, it kind of makes you wonder. With the Ukraine, we see this. We see the president's handling of Syria, and the question becomes, are we on sound footing? Let's take a look at what Politico said in a recent article. Obama's vague warning about consequences for those who step over the line in Ukraine evoked a controversy the president dealt with last year after he warned publicly in 2012 about a red line regarding use of chemical weapons in Syria. The U.S. initially balked at taking significant action in response to reports that chemical weapons were used in isolated cases. But the president endorsed such action last August after broad use was confirmed. We begin with Syria, and we begin with Michael Lindsay. Did the president act with sound judgment in what we did in Syria?
Syria's a winner. The president's got a winning streak going right now, and I don't think there's any doubt about that. We're not giving arms or aid to the rebels. We're not backing the government. We have no boots on the ground. And this president was able to secure dangerous weapons of mass destruction, gas, which is being taken out of the country and being destroyed despite the fact there's an ongoing war there.
Winning streak, Kent Bettman?
Well, I think, isn't that Putin's winning streak? Did I misunderstand who was in charge there? I thought it was Putin, and I think in this case, I think Putin is going to embarrass our president. That's the problem. I don't think we have the negotiator in chief that should be there, but the result's going to be the same. Ukraine's going to decide their own fate.
The separatists made a
Hopefully.
point. Yeah.
Well, and I think they have today.
Well, going along with what Mike said, from the standpoint of the chemical weapons, there's no question they put a halt to it. But the president said, we're drawing a red line. Well, when it got to that point, he didn't do anything. When we finally sat down and Putin came in and said, look, we'll guarantee the weapons are taken care of. Well, I trust a former colonel in the KGB about as far as I can throw an elephant in a circus. Okay. I mean, this is the kind of person you're dealing with. And he's doing the same thing with Yanukovych in the Ukraine. He gave him $15 billion to say, hey, I'm trying to build back up the Soviet Union because we got embarrassed when the walls came down. And now this is my chance to move.
You can't deny, though, that a lot of conservatives at the time that the president was handling this matter with Syria, and there were a lot of conservatives who said, this is a...
We don't want a war.
Yeah, it's never going to happen. It's never going to work, and you can't appease your way out of these hot spots, around the world. And to a large extent, you can't deny that at least it's kept us out of a $1 billion a day war in Syria.
Well, if that's what we were trying to do, we don't need any more forces somewhere else. But unfortunately, the president has picked Egypt, where the militant Muslim Brotherhood took over originally, until the army came in and said, look, this is nuts. These people have gone crazy and are killing our people. When Iran, the most advanced country over there, had a revolution, if you will, of people turning against the government, we sat back and said, gee, good luck.
What do you say about our Iranian policy? Has U.S. policy with Iran worked, in your view?
We've warmed relationship over 30 years. We're now acknowledging, as WL just said, the most advanced nation in the Middle East. We're talking to people.
Where will we be in 6 months? When we have to, talk with the Iranians again in 6 months and say, okay, because in 6 months, I'm almost guarantee you the Iranians are going to come back and say, we really would like to restart our centrifuges. What say you, Mr. President? Then what are we going to do? What's your view of whether the Iranian sort of normalizing will continue? Let me get Mr. Lindsay on with it for a second.
I think we wait and see what happens, and hopefully we have pressure, sanctions that will be in place, and hopefully the relationships between the two countries are better, and our people can begin to have more normal dialogue.
Are you satisfied that might work, Mr. Batman?
I'm satisfied that area becomes less and less important the more we develop our own oil in this country.
Absolutely.
And they recognize that more than we do, and that's why we're hearing kind of the last gasp of people that have wanted to cause us problems.
We're going to be back on Southeast Texas Weekly in just a few moments to talk about some local races, the Keystone Pipeline, and much more. Stay with us.